It was to 14 a.m. when my phone rang. I remember the exact time because I had been staring at the clock, unable to sleep, just drifting in and out of a half-conscious daze. When the ringtone pierced the silence, I jolted upright, heart racing. Who calls at that hour? My mind immediately went to the worst possible scenarios, emergencies, accidents, something horrible. But when I picked up the phone and saw the caller ID, my skin crawled. Unknown, no number, no area code, nothing, just that cold, unsettling word glowing on the screen. Against my better judgment, I answered, "Hello?" My voice was shaky, barely above a whisper. There was a pause on the other end, and for a moment I thought it might be a prank, or worse, one of those scam calls that plague you in the middle of the night. But then I heard it, a voice, flat and cold, like it was coming from a vast distance, yet impossibly close. You must listen very carefully. My pulse quickened. Something about the voice wasn't right. It was layered, as though multiple voices were speaking at once, some deep and guttural, others high-pitched and distant. And though the words were in English, there was an accent, something I couldn't place, something ... alien. "Who is this?" I managed to ask, trying to keep my voice steady. Another pause, then the voice continued, each word cutting through the silence like a blade. "We are not from your world, but we have watched you." I laughed nervously, despite the creeping terror coiling in my chest. "Watched me? From where?" There was no hesitation in the response. "From beyond the stars, far beyond what you call your galaxy. We have been observing your kind for a long time, but now ... we must speak directly." I stared at the phone, my mind racing. This had to be a joke. Someone hacked into my phone, or maybe it was some elaborate prank. But the voice ... there was no warmth in it, no human emotion, just a cold, detached precision. And beneath it, something else, a sense of urgency ... A decision must be made, a deal. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. "A deal? What are you talking about?" The voice's next words sent a cold wave of dread through me ... "If the deal is not made, your world will cease to exist." I didn't respond at first. I just sat there, gripping the phone, as my heart pounded in my ears. Every instinct in me was screaming to hang up, to turn off the phone, and forget I'd ever heard that voice. But some twisted curiosity rooted me in place. "What do you mean, cease to exist? What do you want?" There was a brief silence, and I could have sworn I heard something in the background, a faint hum, like machinery, or the sound of something vast and mechanical turning far away. "We require one thing, one offering. In exchange, we will ensure the survival of your species." I laughed again, but it came out shaky, desperate. "What kind of offering? Money? Power? What could you possibly want from us?" For the first time the voice faltered. There was something in it that I hadn't heard before, an edge of hunger. "We want ... one of you, one human, a mind capable of understanding, someone to join us, to become one with us." I felt a sickening wave of nausea roll over me. "You want ... someone, a person?" "Yes," the voice hissed, "one who will come willingly. If this is done, your world will remain. If not ... the eradication will begin." My hand shook as I gripped the phone tighter. The words felt unreal, but the terror creeping into my bones was all too real. And if I refuse, if no one agrees, there was no hesitation, no mercy in the voice. We will dismantle your planet. Piece by piece, slowly your oceans will boil, your skies will blacken, your cities will crumble to dust. It has been decided. This is your only chance. My throat tightened. I couldn't tell if this was some sick nightmare or if I was losing my mind, but the gravity of the voice, the way it spoke with such cold certainty, filled me with a dread I had never felt before. "Why me?" I whispered, barely able to get the words out. "Why call me? We did not choose you. The choice was random. You are the one who answered." My breath caught in my throat. Random, pure chance. Of all the people on this planet, I had been the one to pick up the phone. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone against the wall, but the voice continued. "You have limited time. You must decide now. Will you offer yourself, or will you allow your world to die?" My mind raced, searching for a way out. There had to be something, some way to bargain, to stall. But the cold truth was sinking in. I was alone. No one else knew what was happening. No one would believe me if I tried to explain. The fate of the world was in my hands. The voice was patient, waiting in that cold, infinite silence. I swallowed hard, my mouth dry. If I agree ... what happens to me? For the first time the voice softened, not with kindness, but with a strange reverence, like it was describing something sacred. "You will transcend, you will become one with us. Your form will change, your mind will expand, you will leave behind your world, your body, your life. But in return, you will save your species, you will become eternal." I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of those words settle over me. I thought about my family, my friends, the billions of people who had no idea what was at stake. I thought about the lives that would end if I said no, but the thought of leaving everything behind, of becoming something unrecognizable, filled me with a terror so deep it was hard to breathe. But I knew what I had to do. "I'll do it," I whispered, my voice trembling. The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity. Then the voice spoke, colder than before, but almost pleased. "It is done." The phone cut off. The call ended. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen, my heart racing, trying to process what had just happened. But before I could even move, the world around me began to shift. My vision blurred, and the room seemed to warp and twist. A cold, electric hum filled the air, and my body began to feel weightless, like I was being pulled apart, atom by atom. Then everything went black. When I woke, I wasn't in my room anymore. I was floating, drifting, weightless in a vast, empty space. There was no ground beneath me, no sky above, just an endless void stretching in every direction. My body felt ... different, lighter, but also heavier at the same time, like I was no longer bound by the laws of physics. It was as though I existed in multiple places at once, spread out across the void, and yet I was still me, still whole. I tried to speak, but no sound came out. There was no air, no atmosphere, just a cold, infinite silence. Panic set in as I realized I was no longer in control. My body, or whatever I had become, wasn't mine anymore. And then I heard the voice again. "You are one of us now." It wasn't coming from outside me this time. It was inside my mind, woven into the very fabric of my thoughts. I tried to resist, to pull away, but it was too late. The connection had been made. You have become part of the collective. You will serve. You will help us preserve your kind as agreed. I wanted to scream, to break free, but I couldn't. My mind was no longer my own. I was a fragment of something larger now, a single thread in a vast, incomprehensible web of consciousness. I could feel them other minds, other beings, stretching across the cosmos, all linked, all watching. And then I saw it, Earth, suspended in the void, a fragile blue orb, spinning slowly against the blackness of space, my home, my world. And yet it felt so distant now, so small, like a dream I had once had, but couldn't quite remember. Your sacrifice has saved them, the voice whispered for now. I wanted to cry, but I had no tears left. I had given up everything, my life, my body, my humanity, for a world that would never know what I had done. A world that would carry on, oblivious to the danger that had passed them by in the dead of night. And in that moment, as I drifted through the cold, empty void, I realized the horrible truth. This was just the beginning. The deal had been made, but it wasn't the end. The collective would continue to watch, to observe, to wait for the next call, the next deal, and I would be here, part of them, for eternity, forever. The world is safe, but the price, it was so much more than I could have ever imagined. And somewhere out there, in the vast reaches,